Hello, everyone. How are you doing? It's Dave Bondy. It is great to see everyone. We are keeping it real on a Sunday night, June 9th. Good to see all of you. Sorry, I'm starting a little late tonight. Actually, I was playing with my child upstairs and I lost track of time. The show is supposed to start at 7 o'clock, but I apologize. I lost track of time. Anyway, we're going to talk about some good stuff tonight. And if you're watching right now, please hit that share button. Share this out to your friends and your family. We are going to be talking tonight about the city of Chicago. The city of Chicago. Usually the city of Chicago goes Democrat. It usually has always voted Democrat. But something interesting is happening in the city of Chicago. There are many people that are now switching to vote Republican in the city of Chicago. Many of them are not happy with the migrant crisis that's going on. The city of Chicago has spent over $300 million with illegal immigrants that are coming into the city. And the people there, they're not happy about it. They're not happy about it at all. So anyway, if you're watching on Facebook, please hit that share button, everybody. Hit the share button. If you're watching on X on Twitter, it's great to see you all. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you, everyone. If you're watching on Rumble, good to see you as well. So this show right now is free for everyone. You are all able to see this. I'm on Locals as well. Thank you, everyone, for watching. So here's the deal. If you would like to become a paid supporter of my independent journalism, I'm going to put a link on the screen right now. And becoming a paid subscriber, you are going to help fund my mission of keeping it real and getting the real news out there. So I'm putting the link on the screen right now, davebondy.locals.com/support. If you're watching on X on Twitter, take a screenshot of that right now, because I don't know if you can click a link when I'm live yet on Twitter or X. I think they're still working on that. But click that link that I have on the screen, davebondy.locals.com/support. Click that. And then you can support my mission of independent journalism. It's $5 a month. You can quit at absolutely any time, but you're really helping me doing what I'm doing. So let's get back to our main topic. Thank you, Jeffrey. I really appreciate it. Now, at the end of this show, for those of you, why does it pay to be a paid subscriber? Well, in the last 15 minutes of this show are going to be for paid subscribers only. So if you become a paid subscriber, you will be able to see the last 15 minutes of the show. And that's when I really let it loose. I really give more of my opinion. We do some fun stuff in the last 15 minutes. Thank you, Matt. I really appreciate it. Matt, I don't think I ever got your email on Locals. I need to hook you. Message me your email again. So yeah, talking about politics. What do you think? Do any of you out there know anyone that is usually a Democrat but plans on voting Republican? Do you know anyone at all? In lots of big cities, it's happening. The polls have shown that people who were Democrats are now voting Republican. Now, the races are honestly still very tight, if you can believe the polls, but it's very hard at times to actually believe the polling and to know exactly what's right and what's not right. Or, you know, we don't know, and we won't know until election day. So I talked to Cate Truss. She is a woman in Chicago, and she's an activist in Chicago. She has been a Democrat activist for most of her life, but guess what? She is now going Republican. This is an interview that all of you need to see. This could change the election in November. Not just her, but people like her. This could be a game changer when it comes to the November election. So I want you to watch this. I want you to share this out. Here's what she had to say. I talked to her just a short time ago. Hello, everyone. I'm joined by Cate Truss now. It's been a while that I've been trying to talk to her. I've seen her on many network television shows and podcasts. She is in Chicago. Great. Thank you so much for taking the time.
No worries. I am excited to be here. It's always an honor to have people to ask to talk to you, to want to hear your story and what you're doing. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you're in Chicago. I was there just last year. I'm in Michigan, so we go to we go to Chicago often. A lot of Michigan people go there. But I saw you on your network, and you are kind of standing up as a voice. I call you a regular person. You're not the mayor. You're not an elected official. You seem like an average person, and you're talking about politics, but you're also talking about just the way of life in Chicago and in the United States. Give us a little bit about your history. Have you always been involved in these issues, or no?
I think that I've always been sort of a low key advocate, always advocated for education, the disparities that you see here in Chicago. I've always had a strong voice in my immediate community. Always been one to stand up and fight for what I believe in. I spent a lot of time as a park advocate, which is kind of where all of this started because, one of the things that we saw, I'm the mother of 5 boys. And so when I started looking for activities and things for my kids to do, I realized that there wasn't a lot out there for them. And so my husband and I got together with some of our neighbors and we started a youth organization. And so what we realized with doing that was that there were disparages in the Chicago Park District. We would go to some of the South Side parks and some of the North Side parks because our children played in a traveling league. And we noticed that the amenities that they had at those parks were so much better than what we had in our community.
Oh,
So I began to go to the park district and say, hey, listen, I work every day. I'm a taxpayer. Why doesn't my park look like parks in other communities? I
fair. Yeah.
need to explain, why that is. What happens with the revenue, and that's how I got involved in parks, and that's really how this started. Our mayor decided that he wanted to put a migrant shelter in our community park. And
So there is a large park with swing sets and
yeah,
probably like a baseball field, and it was
baseball, football.
okay. So what mayor are we talking about? The current mayor?
Our current mayor, Brandon Johnson. Yes.
Okay, so it was a park. Would kids use the park? Would they go
Oh,
there?
yeah, we have full activities. Our seniors use the park. You had over 300 kids using that park daily. And
Wow.
so the issue was that we have parks in this area where there are little to no activities going on. But this particular park has robust programs, robust activities. The children use the park, the seniors use the park. They're there every day. And so basically, we were just told that the mayor wants to take this particular park and they wanted to house migrants there. And we were like, yeah, no.
So when he means house migrants, are you talking like tents or house? Or
It
what
was
are
going
they?
to be
What's it
tents.
look like?
They were going to take over the field house, probably going to bring tents in, have because they were looking for places because it's expensive to house them. So they were looking for large facilities that had showers, that had kitchens, that had amenities, so that they would be able to kind of care for themselves in addition to open space so that they can have large numbers of them.
Wow.
So
So you're
I
talking when you're saying a park, I'm thinking just the grass, but you're talking the park has buildings and thing like a senior center and things.
yes,
It okay.
yeah.
Wow. When did this happen? When did the mayor do this?
That happened in late August, early September of 2023. That was when it all started.
And you were hearing about it, but you weren't hearing about it like on a national level. CNN never talked about it or anything. But I would hope did were there others like you that spoke up and said this isn't right?
Oh yes, you had Brighton Park, you had the South Shore community. There were several neighborhoods. We were very fortunate, the Austin community, as well as the Brighton Park community, because we started. Well, South Shore actually started first, and they filed a lawsuit, and they were talking about coming to South Shore first. And then it was Austin. And, South Shore did come out and they stood up against it. But we went so hard here in Austin. Let me tell you something. My husband and I and some of our neighbors, the coach the person who runs the football league, the senior citizens over at Amerson Park, we got on the phone. We did a phone tree. We started calling people and saying, listen, they're trying to take our parks from us. We need to organize. We need to show up. We need to let them know that this is unacceptable and we're not having it. And so we organized, the city called a meeting. And initially in this meeting, what they were planning to do was to come in to tell us that they were taking our park. This is why we're taking the park. And they were going to probably try to offer us some programs and tell us how it's going to be beneficial to us. I think that was their plan. But they came in, we took over that meeting. We told them, listen, y'all can put y'all little slides up, put your little poster boards up. We don't want to see none of that. We don't want to hear none y'all got to say. This is our park. We pay our taxes. You're not taking our park. You're going to have to find someplace else for them. We are absolutely not going. And let me tell you something. We were prepared to chain ourselves to the doors. We were going to, we were not going without a fight.
Wow.
We wasn't sure what was going to happen. So every single night until we heard from a judge, because I end up also going to court and suing the city. And every day, every night, we were on watch because we were under the impression that they were going to just bring these migrants in. They were not going to have a conversation with us. So we had people at the expressway watching so that if a bus came off the expressway, they would notify us. We would get up there. We were going to have it where they couldn't get off the bus. We were prepared to fight, to go to jail, to do whatever we had to do to protect our crown jewel. And we were not playing with the and it was going to the mayor saying to him, listen, this is not fair.
Wow.
It's not fair, and we're not okay with it. And so what began to happen as I got involved in this, I started paying attention to the migrant crisis. I started paying attention to where they were coming from. I started paying attention to why Governor Abbott was even sending them here. And then I paid attention to the fact that not only was Governor Abbott sending migrants here, but we were getting migrants from New York. We were getting migrants from California. We were getting migrants from Denver. And the reason we were getting them was because our mayor would stand on the news and say, we're the city of big shoulders and we can handle it and send your migrants here. We'll take them. So if you're standing back and you're saying that to people who are in crisis, Texas was in crisis.
Yeah.
And there was nothing being done.
Yeah.
And so as a sanctuary city, I'm struggling and I'm saying to the government, to America, the borders in Texas are overrun and we're struggling. We need help. And you're standing on the other side of the country saying, we can take them. We got room. Send them here. Bet. That's what I'm going to do. And I applaud Governor Abbott. I would have sent them to you too. Since you say you could take them, then take them.
What happened with the park? Did you get a victory with that, or did they?
We got a victory. Yes, we end up winning. They end up deciding to go elsewhere because, like I said, we were in the media. We hammered the media.
I remember that.
I was all over the place. I was on Fox. I was on NSNBC. Every place that would have us, we were there. We were talking about how this was unfair. But then I also began to look at the money that was being spent. And I live in the Austin community, and I although I'm in a middle class area of Austin, there are certain areas of this community that are very poor, that are very neglected, that are very blighted. Our schools are some of the worst and some of the best. And so because there's so much of a difference in how things are conducted here, it really made me start looking at things on a more grander scale. And once I began to look at the disparities and I looked at the money that Chicago and New York and all these places were spending to house and to take care of migrants. And then I began to get angry because, see, one of the first things that you have to remember about sanctuary city is that sanctuary city only means we won't report the illegals to ICE. It does not mean that we're responsible for taking care of them and housing them. And so, when they came here to Chicago, we took on this whole responsibility of making sure that people were taken care of. And then, of course, you have these liberal socialists in Chicago who like to say, well, I don't understand why you Black people are mad. You should be able to understand this. It's the same as when you migrated from the South. No, it ain't. Because first of all, when my ancestors migrated from wherever we migrated from, nobody gave us anything. We worked for everything we got. And if we didn't have housing, we slept where we could sleep.
Wow.
Nobody helped us. We didn't get handouts. And contrary to popular belief, a lot of people love to think that the Black community receives a lot of handouts. And you know what? We don't. A lot of people are out here struggling and making it the best way they can. And so it was a slap in the face to see different cities giving out thousands of dollars and giving out housing vouchers and giving out credit cards and giving out cell phones to new arrivals, where we have people here who are suffering. We had a homeless issue here in Chicago before the migrants ever arrived.
Yeah, I'm assuming they're probably even before, as in Detroit. And I know someone who's recently homeless. He could not even find a place. I'm assuming in Chicago, before all this happened, it was probably even difficult for homeless people to find a place to stay, even if they, like a shelter or a facility. They were probably even overrun before this happened.
They were overrun. No one was really looking at doing anything to deal with it. And a lot of homelessness in the United States has a lot to do with mental illness and drug use.
Yes.
And all of those are issues that need to be dealt with. Yep. And if you think about the $1 billion that we spent in the city of Chicago this past year to house and take care of migrants, can you imagine what those funds could have done to put together programming, to make schools better, to build communities? They talk about Chicago being a food desert, to bring in grocery stores that people can go to in the communities that they live in. And when you talk about these issues and the fact that there are so many other problems here, there's no money for that. And we just don't have money for this. And we don't have money to make schools better. But you just found $1 billion.
Yeah, and I well, you were saying that just now. I went to Google and found an article, and it's shocking because I'll bring it up on the screen. City Council voted to spend $70 million more to care for migrants in Chicago. Now, I want to ask you, and some people might say, and they may accuse you, they may accuse me, you're not saying you are against these people, that you don't wish them harm, but what you're talking about is that there was already a crisis in Chicago.
Yes, crime was rampant. Homelessness was rampant. Disinvestment was rampant. And so these were things that were already happening. Like I said, we had 67,000 homeless people in the city of Chicago prior to migrants arriving. Wow. That no one was dealing with, that no one has never driven down these different areas where our homeless population live and say, hey, listen, come on, we're going to pick you up and take you and put you over in a hotel. Even in the winters in Chicago, and we have deadly winters.
Oh, yeah.
And once those shelters filled up, that was it. There were no opening of churches and police stations and things like that for these people to come and to lay their head overnight just for the night. That was not allowed.
No, see, your point is, and many others in Chicago, I think they're waking up. If 70 million was voted by council in April of this year to help 70 million, why couldn't that have been done before? That's your point, right? I mean,
wait. And not to mention the fact that, so as you know, our mayor was a former Chicago Teachers Union leader.
Oh boy. Yeah.
And so the Chicago Teachers Union is right now negotiating a new contract. They've had it sent to Springfield. But listen to this. In that contract, they're asking for housing for migrants. This is in our teachers' contract now. Listen to this. And they're asking for migrant students to receive a stipend of $2,000 a month. Now, not regular, underprivileged, disadvantaged students, because we have them.
Oh, yeah.
I substitute teach second grade. And if I had $1 for every child who was not a migrant, we had to take 2 lunches so that they could have something to eat at home for later. And you only want to take care of migrant kids like those are the only kids that are suffering in this city? Forgive me for getting emotional, but this is emotional.
The average person, and I want to ask you this, the average person would look at this and would think it just doesn't make sense. Are people you talk to, and not people involved in politics, the average person in Chicago, the average, construction worker or whatever, are they waking up to this? Are they feeling like, you think it's hitting people finally?
You know what? It is hitting people, and it's hitting people because we're talking about it. It's hitting people because we're having honest conversations a lot. And this is not just happening in Chicago. You're seeing this in New York. You're seeing it in California. You're seeing it in Denver. You're seeing it in all of these places where these migrants have been sent. You're seeing it all over. And you're beginning to see people stop and say, wait a minute, hold on.
And they're looking at it, like I said, they're not, I'm assuming, you tell me if I'm wrong, these are many people who are Democrats who are upset, Republicans, independents. Are they not even thinking about it politically? Are they just thinking that this is wrong?
Well, I think that people are just thinking about it as it being something wrong. But what I'm doing is also saying to people that you have to think about this politically as well.
Yeah, because that's why it's happening. The mayor is a Democrat, obviously, right?
I'm like you. So let me tell you, and I'm like you, union member, start Democrat, voted for Obama, voted for, Clinton, and now I didn't vote for Hillary because I had some issues with the Clinton administration, but I definitely voted for Obama. And this situation, when I saw the way that this was being handled, when I found out that President Biden was also flying illegal immigrants into the city of Chicago, when I found out that the borders are basically, for all practical purposes, wide open, and the fact that at any point, although Biden just did it, but he just did it because Black people are talking about it now. We're talking about it, and he needs our votes. And he understands that. So now that Black people are talking about, you could have put forth an executive order to stop this at any point if you wanted to. To me, the fact that the Biden administration has been flying illegal immigrants into the United States lets me know that you weren't really dead set on handling this, that you're probably okay with this. And so that makes me have a problem with you and the Democratic Party. I voted Republican this year in our primary for the first time. Wow. And I will be voting Republican. And I'm basically saying to people of color, primarily, because we're the ones who are pigeonholed by the Democratic Party. And I'm saying to us, we have to start paying attention to the policies that they're pushing and how they affect us. And the fact that we have blindly followed the Democratic Party for the last 60 plus years. And where has it gotten us? And even though we're seeing more Black elected Democratic officials, they are still not necessarily representing us in the best light. And so for that reason, we need to start doing things differently. We need to start looking at a different party. Our votes are being taken for granted by the Democratic Party, and that's just how I feel.
Yeah. Are others I think they are, because the polls show that people are waking up to what you're saying. Do you see it on the ground when you're talking to
Yeah.
average people in
And we're
Chicago?
talking, and
And
what
I'm talking white, black, Hispanic, whatever it
oh yeah,
might
no,
be.
I'm seeing it across the board. And I think that what is interesting is it's funny how when I walk out of the house with my Make American Great Again hat, my husband be like, "You gonna go outside with that?" Yep. Yes. And because there's this myth that to be mega or to support Trump or to support the the Republican Party, that you first of all, you can't be black. Secondly, you can't be a middle class person. You can't be it's something wrong with you if you're looking at the Republican Party as a person of color. And one of the things that I kind of try to remind people is both parties has issues.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they'll continue to have issues if we separate ourselves from them,
Yeah.
and if we don't hold them accountable. And I think that by people of color really looking at the Republican Party, two things are going to happen. The Democratic Party is going to wake up and say, "Dog, we can't keep playing these people because now they're paying attention." And the Republican Party will also hopefully say, "We have some policies in place that have not been friendly or beneficial to Black people. We need to go back and relook at that."
Wow. Has the Democratic Party, and I know the answer, my dad passed away, but he would not, he was a Democrat. I don't think he would recognize the Democrat Party today. Over the years, has it gone more extreme or taken in a different route from when you were a
Oh,
child? When you were a child, when you were growing up, is it a different Democratic Party?
oh, definitely. Oh, I mean, these socialist views and I would be remiss if I didn't not just talk about the Republican Party, but talk about religion, because as a Christian,
Yeah.
you cannot not deal with the social issues that we are conforming to, things that are not necessarily right, things that are not biblical.
Yeah.
And
How important is that? How, because you don't hear about that a lot. How important is that in the black community? Because you have very religious people who are very set in their beliefs, but you don't hear about that. Is a big deal.
it's a big issue. And I think that we have to be reminded about what, as Christians, what the Bible says about not conforming to the world. And so when it says not conforming, there are things that the world thinks that is okay, but biblically we know that are not. And, one of the things that the Democrats right now are hanging their head on is abortion rights. But we know as Christians that that is not something that is okay. And so, as much as we like to say that people have a right to choose, the Bible says otherwise.
Is it tough? You said your husband, maybe he's a little scared for you walking out and you're being very loud. Like, I've had death threats before from both sides of the aisle, because I'm a journalist and I try to be in the middle and I just try to give information. I'm sure you've had threats or people
Yeah.
not happy with you.
Oh,
Is it tough? Is it tough to be you, to be who you are? Is it tough for you or no?
I think that it's going to get worse.
Really?
I do. I think that people are listening, people are paying attention, and as the election gets closer, I do think that it's going to become tougher. However, because I am a Christian and I believe in the power of the Most High God, I believe that God has not given us the spirit of fear, but the spirit of power and a sound mind. And so, because of that, I have to continue. And I think that, this is not just a person. I'm not just a person who flipped from Democrat to Republican. I am a person who believes that this is a movement that is necessary. And anytime you are participating in a movement, I think that there's a level of dissension that's going to come with that.
But are you seeing more people? are you seeing more people jumping on board? You were brave enough and the people surrounding you, but are you seeing now more people saying, yeah, I really need to step up and speak? Is it getting better with people coming up,
I think it's
or at least maybe not coming up and speaking? Maybe they will at least vote their feeling, their way.
And you know what? And that's all I want people to do. A lot of people aren't going to tell you because it's sort of taboo in the Black community to vote Republican. So people aren't going to come out and say it. But another thing I want to do is I want to make it okay for us to say that we're Black and we're Republican. I want people to be okay with being associated with MAGA. And why does it have to be a bad, negative thing? You know what I'm saying? Why does it have to be bad? I also feel that it doesn't have to be as extreme as it is. And I think that as more regular common people come into the fold, it will level it out and it won't be as extreme.
And you're talking about not just this year, the future. And
talking about the future.
I brought it up. I hope the mayor is listening, but this article I just saw, he wants unlimited migration to fix the population loss. Is he not listening to you and a lot of the others in Chicago? Is he just digging in even harder?
Well, so here's the thing with our mayor, who basically is being run and controlled by CTU and other socialists who have attached themselves to that.
What is CTU? CTU is what?
Chicago Teachers Union.
So they are ultimate powerful.
They are right now. They are ultimate power. At least that's where they're moving. And another goal of mine is basically to make sure that CTU or Chicago Teachers Union doesn't become the NRA. No particular organization, to me, should have more power than the people.
And it should be about what's best for the children.
It should be what's best for with Chicago Teachers Union. Their main focus should be the children. It should be educating children. It should be grooming and bringing up teachers, finding a way to attract teachers. That's their job. This socialist role that they've taken on, no, that's
so. What is it? What is it now? What is the Chicago Teachers Union now? What do they stand for?
Well, right now they stand for migrants being here in Chicago. They stand for us supporting and taking care of migrants. They stand for abortions. They stand for LGBTQ rights.
But shouldn't number one be children?
I think, but that wasn't even the top of the list in their contract. If you get a chance, go pull it up and read it. It's really interesting because they're even in the part in the contract. There is a portion in the contract where teachers have a right to recommend children for gender changing surgery. And the parents don't have to be notified, and CTU is raising money to pay for it.
Well, and a lot of parents and teachers, even some, you probably know some teachers who may not agree with that, but the head of the union, they control the money. And
they're pushing it. Yeah.
Yeah. So one of my last questions, people like you making a difference. What is going to make a difference? Is it literally doing what we are doing right now, just talking about it?
We're not only talking about it in social media. Social media is going to be great in this, but you still have a large contingency of people who are not tuned in to social media. So it means us going to the street. It means us showing up at festivals and at fairs and having tables and really boots on the ground, talking to people, letting them know. You would be surprised of how many people aren't watching the news because it's always bad news. And so because it's bad news, people don't tune in. So they're not informed. So we have to find a way to reach people where they are.
So you're going to be busy between now. You're one of them. I bet you're going to be.
Listen, my plan this summer is to be out, to be in festivals, to set up tables. I am strictly out here, literally talking to people, informing people, letting them know, reminding them, hey, we have a choice. If you don't like what's going on, if you don't like what you see, then I need you to show up at the polls. I need you to vote differently. I need you to help us send a message to the Democratic Party and the Republican Party saying, hey, listen, we're here. And we need you to not only see us, but to help you make this country better for all of us. It takes all of us. There are no little I's and big U's in this.
And that's what I'm hearing from you. It's not necessarily a Democrat, Republican. It's about the people. And the people need to hold accountable all the parties, all the officials. That sounds like your mission. It's really about the people coming together.
It's about the people. Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
When you look at what's happening in the Black community and you look at the level of disinvestment, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that we have not invested in each other as people. And so when you don't invest in each other, when you don't invest in your children, when you don't invest in your families, when you don't invest in your communities, you have what we have now. And when this investment has gone on for so long, we have to teach people how to be family. We have to teach people how to be community. We have to teach people that they have a responsibility to be engaged.
Yeah. It's more than just politics. It's about bringing back, I'm getting from you, family values, a sense of community.
Yes, all of those things play a role. Am I my brother's keeper? You know, what does that mean, really? What does that look like? It's not about race. It's not about color. It's not about ethnicity. It's about human beings. One of the things that the Bible does is it commands us to love. Now, nowhere in there do you see it says, well, if I'm Black, I have to love Black. If I'm white, I have to love white. If I'm Asian, I have to love Asian. No, we see that when Noah took people and things into the ark, he took two of everything. Yeah. It was two of everything. And when we talk about the different tribes in the Bible, there are different tribes. There were 12 tribes. That means that there were 12 different groups and nationalities of people. There is no one superior group. And we have to get away from that. And one of the ways that we do that is we teach universal love.
Well, it's been an honor talking to you, and hopefully before the election, I'd love to have you on again.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I go to Chicago often, so I'd love to stop by and meet you in person. It would be an honor.
You have your phone number now, so
I do.
When you and your wife are here, you have to come over. I am a very good cook.
Ooh,
so you have to come over and have dinner with us. You have to do that. I make a pound cake that is just to die for. So you have to come over and just sit down and talk with me, meet my neighbors. You will find out that I don't just talk the talk, I walk the walk.
Well, thank you so much. You're amazing. Okay, looks like I lost the connection there, but yeah, I'm looking at a lot of your comments, and I'm asking all of you to please be respectful. I know there's a lot of Facebook comments going back and forth right now. Let's just be respectful with each other. If you don't agree with one another, don't argue with one another. Just say okay and move on. But thank you for everyone, for all of you watching on X, on Twitter. I really appreciate that right now. Karen just said, tell Trump to pick this lady for his VP. She's very smart. You know what? If he picked that lady as his VP, he would probably run away with the election, honestly. She is about as real as you can get, honestly. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you. And if you're watching on YouTube right now, please go ahead and subscribe. Hit the subscribe button below. If you're watching on Twitter, on X, it's X actually. It's not Twitter anymore, but I still say X because a lot of people don't know. Go ahead and follow me on X and share this video out on X right now. Coming up in just a couple minutes, I started late because I was playing with my son, so the show's going to go past 8 o'clock. But there's several clips that I want to show you recently about the mainstream media. So the media, they have been covering the Hunter Biden trial. They've been covering the Hunter Biden trial. But the way the media covers certain things and the words they choose really matter. I'm going to play something for you. And I want to think, yeah, everyone just please be respectful. Please be respectful. So the media, I know a lot of you are not happy with the media nowadays, right? Are you not? That's one reason why I walked away from the media after 25 years, because of the way they frame certain things and do certain things. I want to play something for you right now, and it's a collage of how the media has been describing Hunter Biden, the coverage. I'm gonna play this right now.
Biden, the first child of a sitting president to face criminal trial.
For the first time in American history, the child of a sitting president is facing a criminal trial.
And never before has the child of a sitting president.
The first, of course, to ever involve the child of a sitting president.
He becomes the first child.
The first child.
The child of a sitting president. The child of a sitting president.
Biden is the first child of a sitting president.
Child of a sitting president.
The sitting president's child.
The first child of a sitting president.
The child of a sitting president.
Of a sitting president's child.
There's obviously a huge personal toll on a president when your child goes on trial.
Okay, what's your take on what you just heard? What they said is absolutely true, okay? But did they have to use the word child? If I was reporting the news and writing that, I would have said President Biden's son, Hunter, is on trial. I would not call him a child, okay? He's a grown man. You're right, Katie. Bob C. Miller, he identifies as a child. Well, trust me, a lot of the things he's accused of doing on video, a child would not do those things. So that is just one example. I'm going to show you another one in a little bit of the media. So they're not giving you wrong information, but it's the way they're phrasing it. Okay, I'm going to look up right now the definition of a child. I'm very literal. Hey, Kimberly, Barbara, please don't yell at each other. There's some people on Facebook right now that are watching that are kind of yelling at each other. I ask you not to do so. And if you're watching on X, I'm sorry you can't comment. I think Elon Musk is working on it to where you're going to be able to comment and get involved, but I know now you can't. But stick with me. Okay, let's look up the definition of a child. And I know I'm very, what's the word I'm looking for when it comes to things? I am very to the point. Let's look up the definition of the word child. Here it is. Okay, I'm going to bring it up for everyone. Definition of a child: a young human being below the age of puberty or below the legal age of majority. Okay, that's the definition of a child. No, not anyone over 18, Kimberly. The definition of a child is a young human being below the age of puberty or below the legal age of majority. That is the definition according to the Oxford Language Dictionary. So, the fact that CNN kept saying child, not CNN, MSNBC, CNBC, NBC, ABC, CBS, all of them. The fact that they were doing that, they're trying to set a certain narrative, and they're trying to play into something, okay? And I honestly don't know what they're trying to play into. A lot of you were saying that earlier. So, yeah, it's just, that's one part of what the media is doing, okay? There was something else that happened earlier today. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer was on television, and she was being asked about Hunter Biden. Have any of you seen this? Have any of you seen this yet today? They were asking about Hunter Biden, and I'm just going to play for you what happened. The interview with Governor Whitmer on CNN. Take a look at this.
Biden, he is on trial for obtaining and possessing a firearm while under the influence of illegal drugs, which was against the law. A Republican.
Okay, that's the wrong video right there. Sorry, I'm going to cue that up. That is a stupid video that someone made. So let me keep talking to everyone. So what's your take on the media? And let me ask, where do all of you get your news from? And, you know, do you trust the mainstream media? You know, there are still some amazing reporters and anchors that are working in the mainstream media. I worked with many of them, and I you know, there's many of them out there, but there are some, mostly at the national level, that try, you know, putting certain narratives out there and trying to shape certain things. And I don't think that's the way it should be. I think the job of a journalist should just be to give you the news. Now, if you are an opinion person, like, you know, Sean Hannity or Joe Scarborough or any of those people, then they should just be giving you their opinions, and that should be labeled as opinion. But that's not the way it is nowadays, and that's really sad. It's really sad that's like that. Thank you, Tammy, watching from Missouri. I really appreciate it. Continue sharing this video out, everybody. Okay, I have the clip right now, the proper clip. I want to play this for you. Take a listen to this. This is CNN interviewing Governor Whitmer earlier today. It's only a short clip.
Turn to a very different trial, and that is one that is going on in Delaware with the president's son, Hunter Biden. He is on trial for obtaining and possessing a firearm while under the influence of illegal drugs, which was against the law. Republican Lindsey Graham says that an average American would not have been prosecuted
Dana, are you there?
for this. Yes, Governor, can you hear me?
Did you just drop my feed?
Okay, it sounds like the governor can't hear me. You know what? We're going to take a very quick commercial break and get this fixed, and we'll.
Okay, so a lot of people are saying that CNN cut off the interview or Governor Whitmer acted like she couldn't hear. I will give her credit on this one. If you listen closely, you can hear the dial tones in the background. I have been a news anchor before for a long time and a reporter for 25 years. So my IFB, the earpiece that you have in your ear, it's right here. This is what it looks like. Hold on, let me take this down. This is the earpiece that you have in your ear when you're anchoring the news. You put it in your ear like that. Governor Whitmer probably had one in her ear and she lost the signal. That's what she said happened. And I know a lot of you are saying that didn't happen, that she just didn't want to answer the question. You know, that's up for you. But Governor Whitmer said that that's not what happened, that she just lost connection. So anyway, I just wanted to put that in front of you, put that out there, and kind of, I'm not a fan of the governor, but I'm telling you that that's most likely what happened. A very inopportune time for that to happen. And if I am wrong, I will correct myself on that. So, you know, a lot of stuff going on. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, everybody. Okay, so right now, we have about 400 people watching. Let me give you the breakdown. 361 people are watching on Twitter X. On Twitter X right now. 13 people are watching on YouTube. 25 people are watching on Facebook. People are watching on Rumble. And we have people watching on Locals, okay? For those of you who don't know, Locals is my independent journalism platform. Locals is where I put everything, all of my investigations, all of the stories that I cannot put on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, or X. X would be okay, but that's where I put everything. So we're gonna end the show on Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, and X on Twitter. We're gonna end right now, and we're going to continue live on Locals, on my Locals platform. We're going to keep the show going on Locals. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you for being here. She's watching on Facebook, everybody. Teresa Shaw watching on Facebook. So if you would like to continue watching the show on my Locals community, you can do that by becoming a paid subscriber. And by becoming a paid subscriber, you are supporting my mission of independent journalism. I walked away from my job in the media after 25 years to go independent because I knew in my heart it was the right thing to do, not only for my family, but God, family, and country, because the real information was not getting out there. And that's why I did it. Thank you, Shay, for watching. If you would like to help support what I'm doing, I invite you now to go over to Locals. If you're watching on Facebook and YouTube, I'm going to put a link on the screen right now and in the comments, okay? Click that link if you're watching on Facebook. If you're watching on YouTube, click that link to become a paid subscriber. It's $5 a month. You can quit at any time. There's no obligation. It goes month to month. You can quit at any time if you don't like it. But I ask that you give it a chance. Facebook is just, or Locals is just like Facebook, but with no censorship. None at all. You can say whatever you want as long as it's not illegal. I do so many stories on my Locals community that are not allowed on Facebook, that are not allowed on YouTube, that are not allowed on TikTok especially. So if you're watching on X, I know there's a lot of you watching right now on X. Screenshot that. Take a screenshot with your phone right now, and you'll be able to see that website that I have there, and you can go and sign up. Because I don't know if you can see the link when you're watching on X. I don't think you can see the links that I type in the comments. But if you're able to do so, become a paid subscriber, because you're going to allow me to do a lot of reporting. For example, if I get more paid subscribers, I would like to go to Chicago to interview Katya in person. I'd like to interview in person. I'd like to go to the southern border. I'd like to go to East Palestine, Ohio. I'd like to go in person to all of these places to report the news that's not being told to all of you. But that's what I would like to do. That's what I would like to do. Okay, my wife apparently went to Facebook to see some drama in the comments. There was drama in the comments on Facebook. Thank you, Squall. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Squall. I hope you can sign up and become a paid subscriber. I know a lot of people are struggling with the economy and they're not able to sign up. But if you can, I urge you to go there. So we're going to end the live feed right now on Facebook, on YouTube, on X, on Rumble. We're only going to be live on Locals for paid subscribers. So go ahead, click the link that you see on the screen. If you're watching on X, davebondi.locals.com/support. Sign up and you can watch. Okay, we're going to say goodbye to now. Everyone watching on Facebook, I hope you can join me over on Rumble. It would mean a lot to me to support what I'm doing. And if you support me, we're going to add even more, everybody. Okay, we are now off Facebook. We're now going to end our live coverage on YouTube.